being your own boss is overrated because when you are your own boss, you can't pass the buck to anyone. So if you're taking time off for a vacation, how are you going to sustain your business if you are the business? So if you are working for a job and you're taking PTO, you have a team full of people that can hold down the fort while you're out. As an entrepreneur, you do not have that. So you need to plan your personal.
Mind over matter is magic. I do magic. Don't you know now? Mind over matter is magic. I do magic. Don't you know now? Mind over matter is magic. I do magic. Don't you know? You think about it. Mind over matter is magic. I do magic.
Welcome to Mind Over Matter, baby. I'm your host, DEJA Wallace, and if this is your first time joining me, welcome. If this is not, welcome back. Shout out to you. You real, you loyal. I appreciate you. This is episode 60 of Mind Over Matter. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship versus mental health. And that was my sophisticated year, guys, because I have a sophisticated woman in the building with me. I have my lovely Professor Tequilla White. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, DEJA.
People a proper introduction.
Of course, I have to educate the people.
Yeah.
Public relations is an industry in which we work with our clients to really foster brand visibility. So that means getting eyeballs, establish credibility. So make sure that amongst their competitors, they're looked at someone that they can trust, they can depend upon. And we work across the marketing campaigns with social. We pitch them for interviews. We help develop their campaigns for events. So it's really about getting them in front of folks, getting them visible, helping them to tell a story and grow their business.
Right. You see, so well said. You see, this is why I had to make her introduce herself properly for this episode. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the increase of entrepreneurship in the past years.
Okay.
Public relations. I want to dig more deep into what that is and how that is so important in this day and age. Okay. We're going to be talking about social media. How can we talk about PR without talking about social media, of course? And just the overall, just your journey of starting your own, PR company.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So kick back, relax, and enjoy this episode. Let's begin with, why did you even choose public relations and go on this journey of entrepreneurship with public relations?
Yes. So initially, I studied cultural anthropology in college. I went to a CUNY as well. I went to Queens College. And I initially studied cultural anthropology. I was really interested in people's cultures, their backgrounds, how they come together, how cultures that seem to be really different on the outside, when you examine the way that they maybe look at family or religion or love, it's all really the same thing. Very similar to, how we just had a Passover and a Ramadan all come together at the same time, and an Easter. So while these are all separate cultures, we're all seeing very similar ways of celebration and honoring a similar thing. So that's where I saw myself, and what I wanted to do was examine that. But I realized I would either have to teach, or I would have to travel the world and examine these cultures in real time. I did not want to do either of those things at the time. So I figured, what can I shift to that still helps me examine cultures and use that knowledge, but also incorporates skills that I'm already really great at. So I began to take some electives in marketing. I took a few in advertising. That wasn't really a fit for me. I'm creative more with my words than visually. So like visual arts is not something that comes natural to me. Drawing, putting things together in that way wasn't a fit. And then advertising is marketing rather is very expansive. So I didn't even know, when I thought media, I thought an anchor on TV or radio host. Like, I didn't think there were people behind the scenes. I didn't know that because that's not something that I was exposed to. So when I took my first PR elective and they were like, you write pitches, you plan events, you have to be comfortable talking to people. It sounded like me. And I was like, oh, so I could definitely do this with using my knowledge of culture and knowledge of how people work and move and what's going to drive them to make decisions. I can combine my skill set of being a strong writer, a strong planner, not afraid to hop in, handle situations, with my love for cultures and people. And that kind of bridged the gap where I said, okay, let's try this. I moved forward with a few internships while I was in school to kind of get a feel for how it really worked in real life. So I completed about 3 or 4 of those. And then when graduation came, I thought, hey, I have my internships, I have my degree. This should be wonderful. This should be easy. It was not. They did not want to pay me to do the work that they needed me to do because they wanted me to intern. But because I had already interned, I had too much experience to just come in as an intern. So in my mind, I'm a problem solver. I said, okay, if it doesn't work now, I have friends and family who do really dope stuff. Let me go to them and make them kind of my dummy clients and learn from them. I can make mistakes with them. They're my friends. They're not going to fire me. And then I'll reapply. And here we are in the 7th year of TWPR. And I've never returned because those clients that I wanted to work with, I either ended up working with them in addition to other agency work, or I ended up being able to work with them under the TWPR umbrella.
Wow, it's a lot you just said and a lot to unpack there. Yeah. First of all, the whole motto for Mind Over Matter is mindset. Everything starts with mindset. And what I took away from what you said was, when you were in college, you didn't go for public relations. No. That wasn't your initial, you didn't even know. You just did something that you thought would interest you, right?
Yes.
And it's interesting because when it comes to mindset, everything kind of connects if you have that mindset. Some people are in college like, why am I here? Or I don't want to do this. Or I like a job they don't like. And they're like, oh, why am I here? But if you shift your mindset and say, okay, maybe I could use this skill that I'm learning here. Like if I'm at, working as a cashier, I can say like, okay, maybe I can communicate well with these people, even if I'm having a bad day, to practice my emotional intelligence. Yes. Even. And I think
interpersonal connection.
Exactly. And I think everything is with mindset. And even because you had the mindset in college, like, okay, I'm doing cultural anthropology. Yes. I know this is not per se the field I want to be in, but I know that I can take skills from this field and have that with that mindset. You were able to even, take skills and apply it to public relations, which I think is a very, very great mindset to have. It's mind over matter, baby.
Yes,
you guys have to really listen to what she's saying here. And how has your mindset helped you get to where you are right now?
I mean, it's been critical for me, particularly being an entrepreneur, particularly being a Black woman entrepreneur, particularly being a Black woman entrepreneur in a historically white industry. There's going to always be a battle. There's always going to be a war. You don't necessarily have backing of a larger agency. You don't necessarily have access to capital to be able to grow your business, market your business. You don't have training from folks in your family or in your network that have done this in the past. A lot of them maybe have worked jobs their whole lives, have careers, so they don't necessarily understand what you're going through. There's times where clients don't pay you on time. There's tons of mental acrobatics that go into being an entrepreneur, and you have to have a strong mindset. And I personally am very big on my faith. So the combination of knowing who I am, knowing who I serve, knowing my assignment pushes me through the days where, maybe my mind is playing tricks on me and making me doubt myself or making me feel like, well, maybe I can't do this or maybe I can't do that. Really shifting your mindset, understanding you're here, you have an assignment that's bigger than yourself, and surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded has really been what's been able to pull me through the times where I wanted to give up or the times where I said, you know what, maybe I should just go and get a job at an agency because I know how to do this work. But I always maintain my faith and maintain my mental health to know that I have the tools to be successful. I have the talent to be successful. And it's really just a matter of mind over matter.
Period. Mind over matter. So when you really like think about it, I love this scripture because you did say you were like religious. I love this scripture. I see by faith, not by sight. And that's really what your mindset helps you do. It helps you build this strength and the connection you have with faith. And then it helps you with your confidence overall in general. That's what I found.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So on your entrepreneurial journey, going into this, like looking from the outside going in, it's very glamorized, especially on social media. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, I would love this soft life. I want to, be an influencer and, just post a few times a day and then wait to go viral and then life will be great. Everything's all peachy, rosy. And it kind of glamorizes the entrepreneurial lifestyle. And what are like some stigmas you've noticed on your journey as an entrepreneur that you would like to debunk and you would like to make clear to the people that that's not real life?
Oh, where do I begin? So being your own boss is overrated because when you are your own boss, you can't pass the buck to anyone. So if you're taking time off for a vacation, how are you going to sustain your business if you are the business? So if you are working for a job and you're taking PTO, you have a team full of people that can hold down the fort while you're out. As an entrepreneur, you do not have that. So you need to plan your personal life around your work. And that can be very cumbersome when you're, dealing with other people. So people might invite you places. You got to look at your calendar. You can't simply say yes because you don't know if you're going to be available to do that thing. Also, another thing when it comes to taxes, people don't understand that the money that you're getting in is not necessarily the money that you're going home with because you're paying either quarterly taxes or if you are a sole proprietor or an S Corp or an LLC, whatever it is, you owe the government money. So if you're not saving a certain amount to the side when it's time for taxes to come, now you're going to run into problems. And a lot of times people just see the money at face value and they might spend it. They might, do whatever they do with it, but they are not thinking business forward. And business forward for me just means I know that I'm a person, but I also know that as an entrepreneur, your person is also the business. So I don't speak about my business in a small way. I speak about it in a big way. Because that is separate from who I am as a person. And I think a lot of times when people get into entrepreneurship, they are thinking more selfishly about how they want to be at the forefront and not necessarily thinking about how their business, product, or service can solve for a need or serve a community. They're not thinking assignment focused, business focused. They're more so thinking about how much money can I make? And if that is your mindset, you're not going to be successful because money will come and go. And if that is what's sustaining you to want to do this thing, you're going to quit very early because being an entrepreneur has many ups and downs. You'll either have a really great quarter with a bunch of clients that pay you really well and you can travel and enjoy your life, or you might have a quarter where you have no clients and you have to pull into reserve. So having the fortitude, that mindset, to really look at yourself as a business and align yourself with folks that can help your business to be healthy is first and foremost. And I feel like a lot of people don't think through that when they just have an idea and want to start a business.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the times we do just try to look at the end goal. And that's why I feel like it's best when you go into things to really assess why you're doing it. Like you said, you have an assignment. And when you have assignments, you have to write out what you're doing. Yes. And I find myself doing that a lot, especially with this podcast. I'm always like reassessing, like, okay, why am I doing this? Why, like, what is the goal? What do I want from this? Yeah. And I feel like that kind of like realigns me a lot
every time
to why I'm like, it's not because of like attention. It's not because of, it's for me personally. It's like fulfilling.
Yes.
In what ways do you think social media has helped the entrepreneurship world, and what ways do you think it has negatively affected it?
I think audience and access has really, really been great for particularly Black entrepreneurs, because we're able to share our businesses with people across the globe. We're able to connect with folks. We're able to sell ourselves and our businesses and how we add value. We're able to connect with other entrepreneurs who can support us, who can create community. We're able to build community. That has really made it amazing, because that period of the pandemic where a lot of people were on social, where they were at home, they were craving community, they were craving engagement, and that really birthed a lot of wonderful businesses. But on the flip side, I think, as we discussed, it definitely glorifies a girl boss life, being your own boss, and it does not give the full picture. So, there might be content of someone that they're in a really beautiful apartment, and they're, making content around how they're making their breakfast. And you're like, wow, I don't look like that when I wake up. But they didn't either. They created content to tell a story, and they're also not showing their bank accounts. They're not showing the overdrafts. They're not showing the client that fired them. They're not showing the rent notice that says you have 5 days or you're out. But they're posting. So in your mind, you're doing comparison to say, wow, I wish I lived in an apartment like that, not knowing that that's not even their apartment. Or, damn, I wish I could, make this amount of money. They look like they're making so much, but people who know them personally are like, they just asked me for money last week. They're broke. So it distorts the view of what entrepreneurship looks like and the hard work that really goes into it. And I think that people have to understand that it's just a snapshot. It's not the full story.
Yes, and what you are talking about is the process, right? Yes. The process isn't pretty. It's glamorized a lot. How do you stay patient during the process, knowing that all you can do is just wait, even though you are working still, but sometimes you just have to wait?
Yeah, I struggle with it because I'm a person that likes to get results. I'm a person that feels if you work hard, you should receive certain things. And I'm a very hard worker. And so sometimes I struggle with feeling like I deserve certain things. And I have to shift my mindset to know that I earn things and I'm also blessed with things. And so, it will come in due time. And I have to look at my track record and understand that I've done it every time. So every time I doubted myself, I did it though. So this time will be no different. And you just have to stay steadfast and understand your assignment, understand how to focus on what's going positively for you in that moment, as opposed to only highlighting what may not be going the best. So, at any time I feel ungrateful, I'm like, oh, I'm complaining from my iPhone and my MacBook in my apartment while I'm watching my flat screen TV and eating, while some people have no home, no money, no health. Parents are still here with me. Friends and family are safe and sound. So I feel like a lot of times people miss the process in appreciating the ugliness that has strengthened them and given them the confidence and the strength to move forward for that next chapter and be ready for what that next level is. Because in my experience, I have never been moved to the next level when I thought I was ready. I was always uncomfortable, and growth is uncomfortable. When you're a child and you're going through growth spurts, it can be painful. So I think that when you're thinking about the process and you're thinking about social media and you're thinking about, am I going to make it? How is this going to work? Sometimes it's hard sometimes to shift your perspective, because sometimes you just want to have a bad day where you just hate everyone and everything. But you can't allow yourself to fall too deeply into that, because then you lose sight of the assignment.
Yeah. There's a quote by my favorite rapper, one of my favorite rappers. I don't even know if he's my favorite rapper anymore. There's beauty in the struggle, ugliness in the success.
That's cool.
Yes. And there's a lot of like times where I look back and I'm like, wow, I went through this very like dark time in my life. And I wonder, like, I prayed for, it's like I'm living my reality in prayers I prayed for once.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes gratitude can go a very long way when you really like shift your mindset and look at the abundance in your life. Like you said, it's very satisfying.
Yes, it is, to see how far you've come. Sometimes I just go back to old Instagram posts and I'm like, wow, I remember that placement, my first one in Yahoo or in Rolling Loud, and it was 2017. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was like, can I do this? And now I'm like, GMA, no problem.
Wow, you see?
Like, you really got to sometimes look at your own growth and understand you've come a long way.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, even when I go back to my first episode, I was in a closet in my mom's room because I was trying to block out all the excessive noise in my house. And I was on my phone. I didn't even have a microphone.
But you made it. You
exactly.
did it.
And that was 2 years ago. And now I'm here with Mrs. Tequilla White.
60 episodes in.
Exactly. So it is all about trusting the process. And even when I was at those times, I feel like that was like fun for me, you know? It was like recording my progression and talking about it with the world. Yes. So, yeah. Do you ever feel like worried about, you know, competition or like...
No.
Period. All right, next question.
No. Everyone is doing what they're meant to be doing on this earth, and there's enough clients and money for everyone. I don't see competition. I might admire someone and want to learn from them, but it's not a competition.
You're only competing with yourself.
Correct.
Okay, that was, let's just scratch that out too. How do you balance work life with play life?
I don't. I do the best I can. There's no such thing as balance. That's a farce, and it's not real. Balance means something different to everyone. So balance for me means some days closing down the computer at 2. Some days it's going to be a longer night. So at 10, 11 o'clock, I'm still working, but I know, okay, I'm going to sleep in the next morning. Or it could be me having the onus to say, I need a vacation. Let me plan for something for next month. So while this might be a heavier month for me work-wise, the balance is rewarding myself for a job well done, spending time with my friends, spending time with my fiance, spending time with my family, doing what my work thrills me and fulfills me. So a lot of the times it's fun for me to work with my friends and put things together so it doesn't always feel like work. But it's very difficult to balance because you're always going to feel like you should be doing more. If you're working so hard, you're like, I really should be relaxing. I see people on the gram, they're at this party, they're out, they're having fun. And you're like, dang, they did invite me out. That looks like fun. Or you could be out having fun like, I really should be working on those pitches because the client said they're not, you know, super happy with how this month is going and I really need to get them more stuff. So it's never going to be enough either way. But I do my best to do what fulfills me, what brings me joy. I love going to shows, concerts, just experiencing life with my people, laughing, drinking, eating, having fun, and bonding with my community fills me. So that's how I try to balance, but you never really can because...
You're living in harmony.
Yes.
That's what it is. Yes. So you're just at a constant state of equilibrium.
Yes.
That's cool. A lot of I feel like when you are focused on your purpose and focused on your assignment, I feel like that also comes with it as well. You don't feel like you need to take a break because this is your break. Yeah. This is your vice. And you also get to see the growth within yourself, which is beautiful because... like I said, I wouldn't say I'm a shy person. I told you this off camera, but like I'm a selectively introverted person.
Yes.
So this helps me like get out what I need to get out, you know, effectively.
Therapeutic.
Yeah. And it was to the point where, you know, I seen Tracy Ellis Ross in person, and I couldn't even go up to her and say anything. She had no security, nothing.
And you didn't.
And I couldn't say anything. I was just like,
what would you have said?
As soon as I left, I could have said anything.
You were
and I was just
starstruck?
like, yeah, I wasn't even starstruck. I was just like, I don't want her to like look at me like I'm a loser. Like,
No,
but she wouldn't
nice.
even. She would even do that. No, but like, you know, like that's like those intrusive thoughts sometimes. But like now, I would never do that. Like I look at that. Right yeah, look at the past version. Like, girl, why would you not just Joan Clayton?
Growth.
That is Joan Clayton.
Growth. Yeah,
it's growth, but I feel like when you do find something that you enjoy, it helps you to grow and be more confident. That's really what I'm saying.
I agree.
Yeah. What is your focus brand vision, and how do you stay focused in a distracting world?
Okay, my brand vision is to provide access to resources and a platform for communities that matter to me. So that means Black and Brown, anyone who's not able-bodied, anyone in the LGBTQ community, anyone who has not been afforded access or resources historically. Those are communities that are important to me. So any of my work is going to provide that for them. So that's a very clear brand. I don't deviate from that. That's not to say I can't work with large corporations. That's not to say I always have to work on a diversity or multicultural account, because I am an comms expert and can work across streams. But as it pertains to my vision and what I want to bring to the world, that is my very clear brand and focus. And it's not to get distracted, but I feel like distraction sometimes can spark creativity. So I don't necessarily look at distraction as a negative thing. It's more so sometimes I do need to get out of the house and go for a walk and see the world around me, and that might trigger me. Sometimes I feel that going out for a walk or taking a trip or going out to dinner with your friends, those conversations can spark your creativity so that you come back refreshed, rejuvenated, clear-minded. You might have another angle to go after now because you had a conversation with your friend about X, Y, and Z. So I try my best not to get distracted from my work. If I'm working on something, I normally have a do not disturb. I normally tell people like I'm in heavy pitch mode. But I don't necessarily see distraction as a bad thing, because sometimes that can expose you to things that were right in your face that you weren't paying attention to.
I like how sometimes when I ask you a question, like you kind of change the meaning of what the word is. Like distraction, you're like, okay, that's not what it means in my definition. How important is it for you to speak power and speak life into and make your own meaning for words?
That is very important, because people are going to tell you what to think, tell you what to say, tell you how to feel about things, because that's how they feel about things. And I have really, really, really made it a point to speak up for myself, speak up for others, and stand on my square, meaning like if I said what I said, I said what I said. And if I don't like something, you're going to know it. And it doesn't mean I have to be disrespectful. It doesn't mean we have to be combative or we can't, work together after this or even go out for dinner after this. But I'm going to tell you how I feel, because I know there's people who can't speak up for themselves. And so when I'm thinking about, what words mean to me and what holds value to me, it's really just a reflection of my morals, of my values, of how I was raised, what I deem to be kind of like this is just certain shit you don't do. And it's just certain things that I wouldn't do in business or personal. And I think that served me well. People trust me. People know that I won't lie. I won't scam. I won't steal. I won't say I can do something if I can't do something. So I think that understanding what matters to me and how I can take words or experiences that could be deemed to be negative, or someone be like, oh, she's aggressive, or and I'm like, yes, I'm aggressive because I am defending my client and I'm working on behalf of my client and they're depending upon me. So aggression doesn't have to be a negative thing, because if it was a white man in a boardroom, we would be applauding him.
Passionate.
Correct. So I make sure that I take the power back when it comes to how people are able to describe me, talk to me, and tell me what matters to them. Because at the end of the day, everyone has different perspectives. But I'm very mindful about not speaking negative around me because I have a very powerful tongue and what I say usually comes true. So I'm trying to be really careful about how I talk about myself because I'm very powerful.
I just recently started noticing that. Like a lot of the times what I'm saying matters and sometimes I act like it doesn't, which is like I'm trying to shift that mindset right now. I'm in the process of it. Because even like when I tell people about my accomplishments, I belittle it myself and I don't know why I do that. Like I'll be like, oh, I'm trying something or exactly.
It's
like
getting done.
I'm doing a little like, no, it's big.
Yeah, ain't nothing little over here.
And I'm trying to like change my mindset to speak more, confidently. And yeah, it's a process.
Yeah, but you also got to have good people around you who big you up.
That's what it is. That's the main thing. Because even when I tell my accomplishments, like sometimes I'm not in that circle anymore, but sometimes certain individuals in the past will make me feel like they were too big or like why are you still talking about it? Or all right, now focus on me, that was cool. Now listen to my accomplishments.
Right.
And I'm like, if you didn't even like digest what I just said to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I knew something was wrong when I like met new people and then I'm telling them the same things and they're like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, wow, like you're more excited for this than I am. Why?
Yeah. And that's it. That's what fuels you. And when you ask about like, how do you stay strong? Your tribe is going to really be a big piece of it because when you think you can't do it or you feel down, they will pay attention to that and you might not even have to tell them. They could just notice certain things about you like, oh, I haven't heard from you in a few days. Or, oh, why didn't you post your episode? Or, oh, whatever it is because they see something in you and you pour into them and they pour into you.
It's a beautiful system. It's not like you're just pouring into them and they're just taking and it's like...
You can't pour from an empty cup.
How important is your tribe to you?
It's everything. It's everything to me. My people, I'm fiercely loyal, probably too loyal sometimes. And I really depend on them and they really depend on me. Like everything, personal, professional, every single guest lecture I had for you is a personal friend of mine. And so I knew when I came onto this journey, it was bigger than me. I knew when I accepted this assignment, it was going to be an extension to my community to allow them to see themselves in different ways because a lot of them have never done this and they were so grateful for the opportunity and it filled them so much to pour into you all. And I think that when you're understanding your tribe and understanding what they need and how they pour into you, you can really change the world because you can really sit down at a table with your people and say, like, this is what I want to do. And they will say, all right, how do we support you in that? And vice versa. And I think that my tribe has gotten me a long way when it comes to being an entrepreneur, doubting myself, feeling like I should give up, opportunities, referrals for jobs, like loaning me money, like anything that I need, they can depend on me and I can depend on them. And that is my lifeline, particularly because I don't come from a super large family. I was raised by a single mother, and so her and I were kind of just the road dogs. So I don't have any siblings. I'm also an only child. So my friends are my family. Like, they are my blood. Like, I would kill for them. I would die for them. And they really keep me going.
I always hear people say, like, your tribe doesn't find you. No,
you don't find
your tribe. Yeah. Your tribe finds you. What does that mean to you?
I think that just means as long as you are on your path of your assignment, your paths will cross because they're also on their path for their assignment, and it's already those steps are already pre-ordered. They're already set in space for you to come together, and it might be for a season of time, it might be for a lifetime, it might be to teach you something, a lesson. But I feel like when you are going through your life, you're going through your journey, you're doing good work, you're pouring into people, and you're just being a solid human being, that positive energy attracts more positive energy. When you're dark, when you're negative, when you're not helping people, when you're trying to steal from people, then you see birds of a feather. Then you kind of see a group of people that you're kind of like, oh yeah, I know why y'all are friends, because y'all are just low down and no good. Versus a tribe, usually a lot of the people that I hang out with we have a lot of mutual friends because they're also good people. So there's tons of times where I'll be on a business call and I'll be like, oh, I should introduce you to Carla. She's like, Carla's my girl. I love Carla. And it's like, of course you do. Because if you love me, you would love Carla because we are of the same fabric.
And you say a lot, I'm on assignment. This is like my assignment.
Yes.
How, like, do you share your assignment with people? Like, especially when you have like new goals or new like stuff to add to your assignment, even. Do you share that with people?
I'm a real G's move in silence like lasagna type of a girl.
Okay.
So I don't make announcements of what I'm going to do. I share recaps of what I already did. Because when you speak too soon and something shifts or something doesn't happen, now the people are like, oh, well, I thought you said whatever it is. Or even to yourself, maybe you haven't fully thought about the idea. Maybe you haven't fully flushed it out. Maybe you haven't got all your pieces yet, but you're so excited to say something that you jump out the window with it.
That's me.
I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing because people like to see, like we said, process. So saying, hey, I'm embarking on this journey, come along with me is different than saying, I'm just going to do this and then never coming back with it done. So for me, I don't necessarily tell people about what I have planned or what I have going on, not because I don't want to share it with them, but just because I need to work it out myself, see how it comes to life, and then look at the finished product and see if that's something that I want to share, externally share with the world. But when it comes to my assignment, that's very clear. And even if I don't have to tell you, you know what it is, based upon how I act, based upon what I surround myself with, my work, everything that I do is an extension of that assignment. So anytime you see me, whether it's on a personal tip, I'm out and about, or whether it's with my clients, you're going to see consistency however I show up. And I think that's very, very important and very rare in these times because everyone's putting on a different mask or hat to appease a certain audience or whomever they're in front of in that moment. And I think there's a last of the Mohegans that are consistent across the board and keep the same energy. And I think that is my assignment, to keep that same energy, to be a leader, even when it's difficult, and to understand that it's bigger than me. It's bigger than a pitch. It's bigger than a campaign. Like, I'm trying to really do life-changing work. So that's what I'd say.
Even if it's like with somebody that's like-minded and you know they have good intentions in your mind, would you still like keep?
No, my tribe usually knows I'm up to something, but I don't give them all of the details. Like when I decided to take on this role here at Brooklyn College, before I let a couple of people know that I had been asked and I had accepted, but I didn't do like a formal like, hey y'all, I'm doing this until the ink had dried and until like, I had my syllabus done and everything was ready to go. Just in case something did fall through, I am a person where I don't like explaining myself or explaining what happened or getting into, oh, well, I thought you said this and this. So it's kind of a security to make sure that everything is in line before I'm sharing it.
And honestly, I don't like thinking like this, but sometimes it's
still your ideas too.
Yes, yes. Sometimes people's intentions aren't as pure as you thought it was, and their mindset alone with your knowing your assignment can mess with your assignment. I think that's how powerful the mind and thoughts are.
Agreed.
So, yeah. Is there any last words you want to say before we log off or head out of here?
Yeah, I would really like to talk a little bit about public relations as it pertains to Black businesses. And what I'd like to say about that is while we have really great stories and we have, great passion and worth behind the work that we're doing, a lot of the times the marketing falls by the wayside, not because lack of wanting to do that, but lack of resources. It takes money to make money. And so when you have to pay you have to pay a social person, you have to, if you're a product-based business and you have to build your inventory, you have to worry about clients, you have a website, those things add up. And when you're coming from a place where you already don't have access to resources, that can make it all the much harder for you to invest in your business, invest in yourself. And so that is why I think it's really important to reach those communities and provide access and resources for them because they haven't really been exposed to the intricacies of PR and how it can really grow your business, drive sales, help to establish credibility, get you amongst your competitors. And so bearing in mind that a retainer can be upwards of $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 per month, I have set out to kind of fill that gap. I have a 6-week accelerator called Life's a Pitch, and it is targeting small business owners and early comms professionals, so recent grads if you're maybe 1 to 3 level and you're still learning. And I walk them through the process of how to effectively pitch the media themselves if you can't yet afford a publicist, a manager, a social media coordinator, strategist rather. And it takes them through 6 weeks of really private, isolated, one-on-one, very small groups. There's 10 to a cohort. And so week to week, I give them assignments. I talk them through how to strategize for their business, how to build a pitch, how to build a media list properly. I coach them through training themselves to have an interview, how to prepare their assets, right? So, do you have high quality, high res images? Do you have video? Do you have clarity around who your brand is, who it serves? And so I wanted to make sure to share that resource with this platform and understand that there is space for you to market your business. And while can be costly, like I said, that word, we shift it to investment because it's no longer how much does this cost? It's how much are you willing to invest? How much are you willing to invest in your business, in your marketing to help it to grow? Because as we see, PR, marketing, social, all of that stuff drive sales. It might not be a direct one-to-one because it's not a paid advertisement. However, the more consistent you are over time, the more you're able to see the impact that it's making on your business. So I definitely didn't want to leave here without letting everyone know about Life's a Pitch and how to find it. So you can go to my website, TequillaWhitePR.com, and there is a page on it that you can sign up for the wait list, and we'll start our first cohort in June. And I'm really excited about it because I'm seeing in my day-to-day, I have so many new business calls where they're like, I really want to work with you, but I can't afford you. Like, I really think you could help my business to grow and to blossom, but I can't afford you. And I am in a tough spot because I can't take, lower than I'm worth because I'm also running a business and I'm also trying to grow my business. So this is the best next thing for me. Once again, connected to my assignment of providing resources, platform, access to people who historically don't have them. So I'm really excited for it, and I wanted to make sure I didn't leave here today without sharing it.
Wow, she's doing really great work out here, guys. I'm sold. I want to go right now to the website and see what Life is a Pitch about. Life is a Pitch is about.
Yes.
So yeah, even when I think about putting this up on YouTube and stuff like that, I learn that there's a lot that goes into it when it comes with the algorithm, the
time of day, who you're tagging,
exactly.
Hashtags.
I had to learn about SEO, which is search engine optimization,
making people are able
keywords.
To find you.
Yeah, and it's all of this plays a role into making people see you. It could be great content, but if it's not pitched the right way, then life is a pitch, like she said. Make sure you guys tap in. Yeah. And I'm going to tap in with that. Honestly, I need some help. Help me. And thank you again for joining Mind Over Matter podcast. Appreciate you. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure you tap in with Mind Over Matter on all listening platforms. Air on MNN Network at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday. And the link is in the bio, all the information. That's